Hey guys, I love getting your questions. A lot of you send them in through email or DM, and a lot of those questions have to do with what I would do differently if I were starting over, how I got started, and also just how I grew so fast. So I thought it would be fun in today's video to answer some of the most popular questions I get all the time. And for those of you that don't know me yet, I started my business as a part-time passion while I was a broke college kid. And I quickly fell in love with being a wedding photographer, so I dropped out of my final year of college to pursue it full time and quickly built that little budding business into one of the most successful photography businesses in my local area, easily bringing in six figures a year and only working with a select group of dream clients so that I don't burn out and just feel creatively filled in my business. And that's what I would love for you too. So let's go ahead and dig into those questions. How did you go from not knowing anything about how to shoot weddings to being confident enough to book one, shoot it on your own, and charge for it? I actually really love this question because I remember what it was like when just getting started, feeling like there's so many things that you need to focus on. There's a lot of information out there for growing a business, but it kind of feels like you're getting hit with everything all at once, all these things that you need to do to be successful. And when you're just getting started, that can be a tall order and feel a little bit overwhelming when you don't have that confidence yet of what are the right things. So I have just a few things that for anybody in their first year or two or three of business that you want to know the exact areas to focus. These are the things that I think contributed to me growing so fast in the beginning. And the first is really just getting out there on location, volunteering to assist or second shoot, whatever you can to get that initial experience. And that's really going to build up your confidence because you're going to get a better idea of the flow of a wedding day and how that works. And also by assisting or second shooting different people, you're going to be able to watch how they work. You'll find things that you really love in how they work and also things that you would do different. And that's going to also build your confidence and also your own unique style and way of working with people during a wedding day. For instance, when I started, there was things that I noticed just kind of that hectic energy of a wedding day. And I decided really early on that I wanted to be the calming presence on a wedding day. So when I'm going into a wedding day, I'm playing like upbeat music in the car on the way in the morning. And when I get there, I arrive early so that I can slowly get settled into the room and just be that calming presence on what can be a really crazy, hectic day for everybody. I like to be that kind of calm in the storm. So you'll find your different things that you want to bring energetically and also creatively based on just getting that experience through second shooting and assisting other photographers. The second thing that I think really helped me grow in the beginning is even when I was just getting started and had lower price points, I treated every single one of my brides like a $10,000 client. I treated them like gold. And I think that experience is such an important thing early on to no matter what price point people are spending at, this is their wedding day. This is the most important day of their lives. And it's going to go so far treating people well and giving them that experience in, as far as referrals and also just help you grow even outside of brides, treating other vendors that way as well. It just comes back to you. It's karma. Other vendors will refer you and appreciate you as well. And word will get around that you're just an awesome photographer. The other thing was, in the beginning, I didn't have a website or a portfolio. After a short while interning with another photographer, I wasn't allowed to use any of those images in my portfolio. So I started out from ground zero, a little bit of experience second shooting and assisting, but no photos to show for it. So one of the things that really helped me build that portfolio early on was setting up styled shoots and even really simple shoots where it was just somebody I knew that had a really beautiful dress and we went out to the desert or a cool location and just got some images and I got to be creative. The key here is to try to find people in your area or models that fit your ideal clientele, because like attracts like. So if you can find people that are like the type of clients that you would like to be booking, that's going to be attractive to that client. And also, those people are going to have friends that they can refer that are similar to that clientele. So that's what I would do as far as like building up your portfolio early on to attract more of those dream clients that you want. And finally, with pricing, it can be a really controversial topic. I know a lot of people really dog on photographers when they're just getting started that have low prices and say that it's hurting the industry. I see it as everybody starts somewhere, and in order to get those first few bookings and get that experience and build your portfolio, it's okay to start low, but I wouldn't start free. And the reason is you need to start valuing your work, and even just having a few $100s, $1,000, something for those first weddings will show that like what you do is valuable, and other people will appreciate it more as well. The key here is to just make it a win-win where they're getting an amazing deal. In the beginning, I let them know, hey, I'm just getting started. I'm building up my portfolio right now. So this is an introductory offer. You're getting a special deal because I don't really have a lot of images to show. Actually, I had no images to show. My first few weddings were like 800, and then a couple at 1,000, and then a couple at 1,500. And every couple bookings, I actually raised the price. So the key is, if you start low, I don't want you to stay there. And I actually have an awesome video on pricing strategy that I'll link up for you. So also check out that as well. And it talks about how to grow quickly so that you don't stay in that low priced market where most of the competition is. That's a very competitive marketplace to stay in. You want to be raising up where the competition is lower and also where you can work less, make more, and also just really give clients the amazing experience at those higher price points where you're not having to take 40 to 50 weddings to make six figures. You're able to take on less and just give a stellar experience and be very creative in the work that you do. Anything you wish you would have done differently when starting out? Oh, yes. I will say that I did try to do things differently from the start, just because the market that I was in here in Vegas was a very, very saturated market where it was all photographers at this like a low price range. And so I knew early on that I wanted to do things a little bit different so that I could rise above that low price range market where people were having to bring in huge volumes of wedding in order to like really make a decent living doing it. But that said, you don't know what you don't know, and I was fresh. So there's definitely some big mistakes that I made. Probably one of the biggest ones was bridal shows early on, and luckily I learned from my mistakes pretty quickly. I did 2 shows in that first year, and they're pretty expensive, and I very quickly learned that this was not for me. But a lot of photographers get stuck in that trap of bridal shows, and if you want to try it just to see if it works for you, I am a huge fan of like trial and error and seeing what works for you. But I just discovered that a lot of the people coming to the bridal shows are like price shopping. So not to say that there isn't great brides there as well. It's just it encourages that price shopping mentality just because you're lined up with lots of booths of a lot of people. So it's just kind of blending in. Same with listings on popular listing sites where you're just one of the many on a list of 20, 30, 40, 100 different photographers. And so I knew that I wanted to stand out. And those bridal shows, they were a big waste of my money, of my time, and of my energy. And those are 3 resources that we can't get back and we need to be really protective over. So instead of that, I found that if I were to put that same investment in other areas of my business, I was able to grow so much faster. So that few $1,000s that you're spending on a bridal show could instead be put towards creative shoots like we talked about on the last question, lunches for, different vendors in your area or photographers to like get to know people. I mean, honestly, just that alone, if you were to every week go out to lunch with a different planner, photographer, florist, different wedding professionals in your area and just really get to know them and build real relationships every week at like going to a decent restaurant would cost about the same, if not less, than the price of doing a bridal show, and would build your business so much faster because that's how you get referrals and build relationships and do collaborations. And it's just a much better way of going about things. There's also gifts. You can do client gifts, so many different areas to pour your time and energy. Also, all of that time that you're putting towards putting together a bridal show and all that focus can be put towards building your portfolio and building not just a portfolio, but your dream portfolio that will be attractive to your dream clients. So I think that that's a much better place to spend your energy and your time. And if I could go back and start over, I would definitely nix those two bridal shows. But it was just a rite of passage for me. The other thing that I wanted to mention was vendor lists. Since this isn't something that I struggled with in the beginning, but it's something that I've noticed a lot of friends of mine that are just getting started in photography or just students of mine are putting a major focus on getting on vendor lists. And what I've noticed, it was kind of my philosophy in the beginning, but I've noticed it over the years as well, is if you really focus on creating great work, you don't have to like go and try to get on these lists. They will start coming to you because really, these venues and these different vendors, they want what we want. They want a great portfolio that is going to be attractive to their ideal customers. So if you can create that portfolio that's perfect for those ideal customers for you, other people are going to want it for their ideal customers too, because we have a built-in portfolio. But the more we can share and give, and that's another big thing right after a wedding, be very sharing. Reach out and share your images with other people, and that will be something that will be huge for your growth. When first starting out, do you have any suggestions for gear I should get or not get? There's so many things to buy. I get this. I still get gear lust, and I have all the things that I need. So in the beginning, like I said, was that broke college student. And we would scrap for change at the bottom of the car seats to get 99-cent nachos at Taco Bell and share them. So just to put it into perspective, we would, bring up change. So I didn't have hundreds or thousands of dollars to be spending on gear. My first camera was a borrowed camera, and my first weddings were shot on that borrowed camera with a kit lens and a 50 millimeter 1.8. So when starting out, I am a huge proponent of not going into debt, starting simple and growing and learning. And as you're making money in your business, reinvest back into the business. There's nothing wrong with starting small. Super basic camera setup I would recommend is just having a zoom and a good portrait lens. 50 millimeter 1.8 usually is around $100. If you can afford the extra $100 for the 1.4, I'd say go for it. Lenses last for forever, but that's really all you need to get started is a great portrait lens. For those first weddings, I kept that 50 millimeter on my camera the entire time, so I didn't really use the kit lens. You can also rent lenses, and honestly, even with a full kit now, I still keep things pretty minimal in my shoots. If you've seen my What's in My Camera Bag video, I'll also link that up as well for more advice around gear. I have like a whole lineup of lenses, but at the end of the day, there's only really two that I use the majority of the time on my shoots, and that's my 24 to 70 millimeter 2.8 and my 85 millimeter 1.4. With those two lenses, I can shoot an entire wedding and make it be gorgeous. So you don't need a lot. If I were to add a third lens that's my favorite into the mix, it would be my 70 to 200 2.8, just for those church weddings and situations where I want to be a bit further back and zoom in. But that is not a lens that you really need in the beginning when just getting started and don't have a lot of money to invest. It's a lot more in how you use your gear and really learning how to shoot. So it's not even really about learning a manual and reading it back to front, because I don't do that either. I've never read a manual. That's not fun for me. It's more in your eye and being able to see light and to be able to capture images. You give any great photographer a point and shoot camera, a kit lens, or an iPhone even, and they can go out and create really beautiful images without expensive tech because they know light, they know how to shoot, they understand it. So that would be really where I would focus more and not worry so much about the gear early on, because as you get better, you'll reinvest back into new gear and you'll build that kit, trust me. So it'll come. As far as like building up your work and your eye to get better, we talked a bit about second shooting and assisting. I would definitely recommend that just to get that experience, and really do that with photographers that you admire. So I would look for photographers that you admire in your local area or even online. Reach out to them, find assisting and second shooting opportunities. If they have a course or workshop or a one-on-one mentorship training, anything along those lines where you can learn from people that you admire and get better and more confident in your work. And that's going to help you grow the business really fast so that you can then reinvest back into it. And if you like my work, I actually have a signature shooting and editing program that I'm opening up doors to again very, very soon. So I'll drop a link in the description below in case you'd like to find out more details about that. Do I need a website in order to get paying clients? I've been doing free shoots for a while and I have a small portfolio built up, but I don't really feel like a pro photographer, and I'm afraid to charge for my work because I don't have one. First off, I just want to tell you, if this is you, you're not alone. A lot of my students in Shoot to Edit don't have a website, or if they have one, a lot of them just aren't happy with it and don't like to share it or promote it, which is just as good as having no website. But the great thing is, my advice for this is in the beginning, it doesn't really matter. The website is not that big of a thing. Yes, sure, further down the line, as you're building a premium brand, you're going to want to have that website where people can go to look. But really, to get started, all you need is an Instagram and Facebook page where you can begin sharing your work and get it in front of your ideal clients. And most of them aren't even looking at the website. To get started, that's really all you need. I'm all about keeping things simple and not adding noble obstacles into the mix in order to begin getting out there and getting the work. And a lot of times, honestly, a website can be a huge time, money, and energy suck. I'd actually rather people focus on other areas such as your work and building up that portfolio before you start focusing on things like a website. When you are at the stage where you're ready to build up that website, have a decent portfolio of images, and are ready kind of to take things to the next level, some of my recommendations for that would be Showit. I really, really love as a website platform, especially as you're building a higher end brand, and Showit just has so much available as you're building it out. And I would recommend, as far as templates go, looking into Go Live and Tonic Sites by Jen Olmsted. Have really beautiful high-end templates, simple to customize to you and make their own right within Showit. So that's what I would recommend as far as building out a website if you're at that stage where you're ready. If not, no worries, it's not needed. I'd rather you not wait to get yourself out there. And then as far as client delivery goes, I use and love and recommend Pixie Set for delivering client galleries, and that has a really amazing presentation. So those are some of the tools that I use myself personally and love and can recommend for you as you're building out your website and client presentation in your own business. But really, my number one piece of advice would be start before you're ready. Own the fact that you are a photographer. Start putting yourself out there and don't worry about the website. Start calling yourself a professional photographer today because you are. And that's the most important thing, is to just start practicing that and building that confidence so you can go out there and bring in that work that is going to build a portfolio, and all the other pieces, they'll fall into place eventually. How did you scale from budget to premium weddings? It seems like a wall that I just can't bust through. So I struggled with this for a while as well until I finally cracked it. I, in my own business, hit a certain level of success, and it did seem like this barrier to get to that next level. This is something I've noticed throughout my photography career, is there's kind of these ceilings that you hit within these different markets where you need to kind of bust through and get to that next level. And what really did that shift for me was, for a while I was so focused on why am I not getting those kind of weddings? Why am I not getting weddings at these venues with these beautiful details? Because I love all the details. I love the beautiful dresses. I love the floral, gorgeous floral. I love all the little details in a wedding. And I really wanted those super detail-oriented brides with these luxurious weddings. So for me, what really helped me bust through to that other side was, instead of focusing so much on how to get these weddings, how to get that work, I instead essentially became the dream photographer for those brides. And it was a shift in focus. And I think energetically, what happens when we're so focused on what we don't have and what we want, we are pushing that thing away. Whereas when we actually just embody and become that person through our work, we naturally attract it to us. So one of the things that helped me with this was becoming that dream photographer, was because I just really wanted to get featured. I was so excited to submit my work and get featured. And so I started creating work just for myself that would be attractive to those publications. And that in turn made my work, focusing on that feature-worthy work, super attractive to the clients that I wanted. And those weddings just naturally came to me. So if I were to boil this down into just two simple things to really focus on to push yourself to that next level in your business and start booking more of those high-end or luxury weddings, it would really be to, on top of course the experience and all of that, which I feel like you should be giving at any stage and always constantly elevating and giving a better experience to your client. But the two things that will really help you start bringing in those kind of weddings are to focus on feature-worthy work and creating the kind of work where they just have to have you. High-end, gorgeous, high-quality images. Our work is the first impression. When people see your work, they're either going to be pulled towards it or pushed away. And it happens in a matter of seconds. So you want your portfolio to be strong and be something that is naturally attracting that dream client of yours. And then the second part of that is putting that work in front of those dream clients. And there's actually a lot of ways to do that don't cost any money at all. One of the primary ones for me in the beginning was submitting to the top wedding blogs, magazines, publications. If you're interested in this, have a full video all on this that'll link up for you guys to check out after this, all on getting featured. And that for me for a while, really started to bring in those brides that love those details as much as I did, by initially creating those images through styled shoots and collaborations, and then getting them featured, started bringing in more of the same. And then I would submit and get those featured. And it was just the snowball effect that built up my business over time. The second place to really be focusing on to get that work in front of ideal clients, of course, is just knowing where they're hanging out and stuff. But Instagram is so powerful. For me personally, a lot of my clients, that's where they hang out, is on Instagram. So if you are posting and tagging appropriately, you can get that work in front of those clients. The thing with this is a lot of people think that they have to have this massive following in order to do well on Instagram, and it really has nothing to do with follower count. It's just really putting out quality work. And the other way of really growing fast is what we talked about earlier, sharing your images. Because, when you're sharing on your platform, on your Instagram account, you're limited to, people finding you through the hashtags or locations. But if you're sharing your work with the full vendor team, you're now getting in front of all of their clients and also potential future clients. So when you're sharing it with like the florist or the makeup artist or the planner or the different people that are part of that wedding, they're going to want to share those images, especially if you're becoming that photographer and up-leveling your craft. They're going to be so excited to show off that work and get it in front of their clients and their future dream clients who might just be dream clients of yours too. So that is super powerful to have that referral network that is going to share and promote your work as you're building up your craft. You're going to get more and more of that. I am now on vendor lists that I didn't even know I get of venues that I've never even photographed at, just because as you're creating better work, people are going to want that to promote themselves. So those are my top 2 things. It might seem really simple, but really it's just all about perfecting your craft and creating that future-worthy work and getting it out there in front of those dream clients. And that puts you in the position that you are naturally becoming that dream photographer for your people. All right, so we covered a lot. So just a quick recap of what to do when you're first getting started and how to grow fast. First, I recommend assisting and second shooting to gain experience and confidence, to focus on creating an amazing client experience where each and every one of your clients feels like a 10K client. Focus on building your portfolio through creative shoots based on the ideal dream clients that you want to attract with your work. Pricing for a win-win to build up that initial experience, but don't stay there. Be sure to quickly raise prices so that you can rise up to where you want to be. And last, put your money, your time, your energy, and your love into the right places. And for me, that's really 2 key areas. One is fostering relationships with both clients and other vendors. And 2 is investing in yourself as a photographer through courses, workshops, or one-on-one mentorship with photographers who are where you want to be and whose work that you really admire. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're interested in having your portfolio critiqued here live on my channel, submit below. I'm going to include a link. In a couple weeks, I'm going to be doing a video all on how to amp your portfolio with my top tips. And I'm also going to be doing live portfolio critiques. So super pumped for that. Also, be sure to mark your calendar for Tuesday, March 9th, when doors are going to be opening to Shoot to Edit, my signature shooting and editing photography program. And last, I'd really just love to know, what did you think of this question and answer format? Would you like more videos like this? And also, if you have any questions for me for a future Q&A style video, shoot them my way. I always love hearing from you guys. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.